The command cut through the marble hall like a blade. Foreign words, sharp and unfamiliar, froze soldiers and silenced reporters. Confusion spread. No one understood. No one, except the quiet cleaning lady pushing her mop. And when she snapped to attention, the hall learned a secret that would change everything. The command cracked through the air like thunder. Sharp syllables, foreign to every ear in the marble hall, rang out with such force that conversations died mid-sentence. Soldiers stopped mid-step. Reporters lowered their pens. Even a flicker of camera flashes seemed to pause. No one understood the words. No one, except her. Lena, the cleaning lady in a plain gray uniform, sleeves rolled up, a mop in her hands. For months, she had walked these polished floors unseen, blending into the background, a shadow in a place filled with uniforms, medals, and power. But now, those words she thought she'd never hear again, had cut through her silence and pulled her back into a world she had buried. Her fingers tightened on the mop handle until her knuckles whitened. Her heart pounded. She recognized the command instantly. She had lived it before, and in that instant, she knew her life was no longer hidden. The general at the podium didn't repeat himself. He didn't explain. His voice, steady and commanding, needed no translation. His gaze moved across the room, skipping past uniforms, journalists, and dignitaries until it landed on her. The air seemed to hum with an energy only the two of them could feel. Lena's legs moved before her mind caught up. Step by step, she crossed the marble expanse. Every echo of her footsteps carried shadows of her past, boots pounding dirt roads, stretcher straps digging into her shoulders, the desperate cries of the wounded calling her name. The whispers started almost immediately. Who's she? What's going on? Is he calling the cleaner? But Lena didn't hear them. Her world had narrowed to the general's steady gaze and the weight of a command that had once meant life or death. Lena had not always been invisible. At 20, she had worn a different uniform. She had been a field medic in a war fought far from home, in places the news never named. Her days had been filled with bandages, blood, and prayers whispered under fire. She remembered the smell of antiseptic mixing with dust, the burn of gunpowder in her throat, the metallic tang of blood on her hands that no soap could wash away. She remembered the cries of soldiers, boys barely older than her, calling her name in desperation. And she remembered that command barked in a language that demanded instant obedience, the rally call. The words that meant, brace yourself, gather the wounded, hold the line no matter what. On the night everything collapsed, Lena had carried a bleeding man on her back through mud, her knees buckling but refusing to fall. She had patched wounds with trembling hands under the flicker of dying flashlights. She had run miles under fire, lungs screaming, until she stumbled across a border. By dawn, she had traded her satchel for anonymity, her combat boots for worn sneakers, her war for silence. She thought the man who once barked that command had died with that night. She thought her war was over. She was wrong. Now, under the vaulted ceiling of the marble hall, Lena reached the front. Her eyes met the general's, and she gave a small nod, subtle but sharp. "Report," he said. The single word carried like a bell, but it was spoken in the language only they shared. Gasps rippled through the hall. Reporters leaned forward. Soldiers exchanged puzzled looks. And Lena answered. Her voice, unused for years, was clear and steady as she gave her name, her rank, her old unit. The words carried weight, as if they had been waiting inside her chest for this exact moment. The room erupted in murmurs. No one had expected this. The quiet cleaning lady was not who they thought she was. Lena spoke, not in defense, but in truth. She told them of that night. The chaos, the broken line, the frantic rush to save lives with her bare hands. The retreat across burning ground. Her voice carried the weight of memory, and though her eyes never left the general, the hall heard every word. Some scoffed quietly. She's just a cleaner. Others leaned forward, sensing something sacred was unfolding. The general listened in silence. His face was carved from stone, but his eyes glistened faintly. When she finished, he did not hesitate. He stepped down from the podium. The medals on his chest caught the light as he approached. The hall held its breath. His boots struck the marble like a drumbeat, and when he reached her, he placed his hand firmly on her shoulder. You answered the call when no one else could. he said. "And you have again today." It was as if the hall had been struck by lightning. The young soldiers along the walls straightened instinctively. The officers exchanged uneasy glances. The reporters scribbled furiously. And Lena stood taller. She had not sought recognition. She had not asked for applause. But at that moment, silence transformed into respect. Applause began, tentative at first, then stronger, until the marble hall shook with it. The general raised his voice above the sound. Bravery does not fade with time, and it does not need a uniform to be real. From that moment, three truths hung in the air like banners. The strongest uniforms are the ones carried in silence. Bravery doesn't vanish. It waits for its call. Courage has no rank, no title, no expiration date. For years, Lena had pushed her mop across the hall's polished floors, invisible to the eyes that hurried past her. Today, every eye was on her. Part of her wanted to shrink, to retreat back into safety. But the general's hand kept her steady. His presence told her she had nothing left to hide. And in that moment, the crowd rose to their feet. Not out of obligation, not out of formality, but out of respect. She wasn't just a cleaner anymore. She was a soldier again. As the applause softened, Lena picked up her mop once more. The marble floor gleamed back at her. Her work was the same, but she was not. For years, she had believed her courage had been buried under dust and silence. But courage never disappears. It waits, and when called, it rises. The general knew it. The soldiers in that hall knew it. And now, so did everyone watching. Because bravery is not measured in medals. It is measured in moments. Moments when the quietest voice chooses to rise. Have you ever seen someone completely underestimated, only for them to reveal a strength no one expected? Share your story in the comments. I read them all. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories about silent heroes who prove that dignity speaks louder than words.